Well, welcome back to part two of this value scale lesson. This one won't take as long on my part anyway, because I'm just mostly going to talk you through this on how to fill in the rest. I'll do a couple of them with you and I'll show you the finished product. And I think you'll get the idea. So you don't have to listen to me so much today. Again, this is Mr. Boltzmann. This is Art 1 class. I'm teaching presently at Lapeer High School, and we are working through some lessons because we are not going to be meeting face-to-face for the first 3 weeks of class. So it gives me an opportunity to make some YouTube videos. If you're listening to this from a different situation, you are welcome aboard. So thank you for that. All right, so what we did last time is we took a look at a value scale. I'm going to turn it sideways here. You can see a value scale is individual steps of value. Value in art is an art term which means lights and darks. All right, the lights and the darks that you have here are called values. And I'm going to label these lights and darks from 1 to 10. 1 being very, very light or white, 10 being very, very dark. So then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a middle value, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 being very dark. So what we are going to do here today is finish up this value scale that we started last time. And last time we measured it all out. And with the measurements, again, there were 3-inch sections on the side, 3 inches, 3 inches, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch at the bottom on this 8.5 by 11 paper. If you're using a different size paper, you could use different dimensions, which I've usually done in the past. All right, taking a look at this, what I would like to do is go ahead and finish up putting the values. Now, what I said before is don't start just at 10 and work your way up, or start at 1 and work your way down. It helps a lot if you go halves, the whole idea of doing something in half. So the 10 is done, and you can see it's kind of shiny. That's okay. Then we did the 5, and we did the 3, and now I'm going to come down and do the 7. You could do 7 or 8. I'm going to decide to do 7 here. So I'm going to take my pencil, holding it like this, holding it back from the tip. So I don't want to be there with the tip so much. I'm going to hold it back a little bit, and I'm going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth this way, and fill in that space as much as I can. Now, that is not dark enough, but I'm going to use layers of shading in order to get this to work. All right, so now I'm going to turn my paper this way, and so that I don't rub my hand over top of the 10, I'm going to use a cover sheet. So I'm just going to use another sheet of paper. You can use any kind of sheet of paper over top of that, so that I don't rub over the top of what I already have. That graphite will rub and smear. So now when I go into the corners, now I am going to hold on to this pencil a little bit tighter and a little bit more like I'm drawing, or a little bit more like I'm writing with the pencil. So I'm going to go back and forth this way and slowly build up the 7. Now this takes time. It's going to take you longer than the length of this video probably, because I'm going to skip around in and out a little bit because I don't want to bore you with just all the shading, and I don't know how to make this thing go faster. Like there's a time lapse that a lot of people do on their phones, but I'm in a classroom here, and I'm using a document camera, so I don't know if I even have that function. And today is the first day that I've ever made a YouTube in my life. So this is all brand new to me. I'm just learning myself. All right, so I have this in there, and it's about a 5. It's really similar to that 5. So now I want to start taking it a little bit darker. So I'm going to work it and work it and work it and get a little bit darker here. I don't want to go too dark. You know, I need to leave 2 spaces. I need to put a darker and a darker yet here. So I need to leave a couple spaces between them. And you want to work and work and work these values go one direction and then go another direction. And then you can go a third direction. You can go at an angle if you want to. And I'm going to try to get this a little bit darker. You can use the side of the pencil even. I'm going to try to get that a little bit darker. That's looking better. Now, I may need to go a little bit darker still, but I can see that now it's obviously a little darker than the 5. But I'm going to need to put a 6 in here. So as I keep going, then I'm going to go and put an 8 here, a 9 here, a 6 in between those, a 4 in between the 3 and the 4, all right? And then I want to show you how to do a 2, because the 2 is pretty tricky in order to get that done. I'm gonna show you here. Let's zoom in just a little bit for this number 2 value. Now the 1, just leave white. It's all done. It's all set. With the 2, you want to hold your pencil way, way, way back at the end like this. Okay, I'm holding it way back. So I'm just barely touching this down to the surface. Barely touching it, not pushing down hard at all. Very, very, very lightly. I'm going across. I'm kind of using the wider side. If you're using a mechanical pencil, you can do it. It's just a little bit tougher to do this lesson with a mechanical, but you can do it. I've seen it done. And then I'm going to go across this way. Now this number 2, you want to keep quite light. It's just going to be a little bit darker than the 1 and a little bit lighter than the 3. So this is the first time I'm putting 2 values right next to each other. All right. Now, here's the trick with between the 2 and the 3. I probably just lost you with that last part. I am so sorry. All right, so here's my 1, here's my 2, here's my 3. I see a good step between the 1 and the 2. That looks good. That's a good edge. Between the 2 and the 3, not so much. And right here, it's just a little bit too dark. So I'm going to take my pencil eraser, and I'm just going to touch it down a little bit right there. I'm going to lift up a little bit of that 2. Then, for the top edge of the 3, here's a trick. Just go across the top edge of that 3 like this and make that just a little bit darker. That looks better. And then carry that darkness down like that. Okay, so I'm going to carry that darkness down just a little bit. And as that comes down there, now you can see a good definition between the 1 and the 2, between the 2 and the 3, and then I can start doing the 4. Okay, I can go ahead and just put the rest of these in because I have enough of it done now and I know about where I want to be. So, that's all good. So now you can go ahead and put in the 4, try to put it between those 2. And remember, sometimes you have to put a little bit of darkness at the top of the next value, and then the 6 and 7 and the 8 and the 9. And you can see how that works. So that when you're all done, you can see a good difference between 1 and 2, 2 and 3. You could see a little bit more right there. I could put in just a little bit more right there. Yep. I'll work on that one a little bit. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5. You want to be able to see an individual step for each of these. Here, this one's a little bit close, but 6 and 7 are hard. 8's a little bit darker. 8 and 9 are tough because down here, when they start getting dark, they start looking an awful lot the same. But what I'm asking you to do is just do the best that you can and do a scale from 1 to 10 to the best that you can do. And you'll be able to, if you want to reference it against this one, I'll put it like this. And sometimes you can stop the video and hold yours up to it just to see what it looks like. So that's a good reference right there. If I lift this up a little bit, you can take some of that glare out of there. See, just like that. So that's a really nice reference. You could freeze that frame right there and take a look. That's what you're looking for. Now this value scale isn't perfect. No artwork is ever perfect. You just try to get it as good as you can get and as close as you can get. And that is the value scale lesson. Please on this, please make sure to put your name and the hour. And if you would write up here, value scale, V-A-L-U-E, scale, S-C-A-L-E, that would be most helpful for me. Put your whole name and the hour, and we'll be great. All right, thank you so much. That was a little shorter video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you for the next one. We're gonna do a box and a ball. Thank you so much.